Wagwan guys, welcome to another Poppy Show video. It's kind of strange.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, because we've been doing a lot of production type stuff where, we've been doing a lot of acting out of moral messages, which is a niche that we're trying to tap into. We feel like God wants us to walk in that little direction. So we're trying to experiment where that is concerned. So guys, if you haven't yet checked out our series for Better Not Worse, it's a 3-part series. For the first section we did 3 parts already, and we're coming with series 2. So we're working on that right now. We're looking to drop that in the New Year's. So check out series 1 if you haven't yet done so. Trust me, you're gonna love it. For Better Not Worse.
It's amazing. Definitely.
So as we say, moral messages that we're trying to send out there. So leave us a comment, let us know that you guys watched it. If you have not seen Poppy Show before, welcome to our channel.
Welcome, I'm Toya.
Bless, and them call me Poppy, but me are Ian, okay? So yeah, welcome guys, and for our returning pop stars, you don't know Poppy Show, we love on us straight. So big up on yourself for coming back, as always. And guys, listen, if you don't know, we have some hot merch. Hoodies, t-shirts, tank top, leggings, a bag of things are going over Teespring. Understand? So
support the movement.
Check them out. It's over at Teespring. I'm gonna probably put the information on screen, so go check it out. But if you're listening, it's Teespring/stores. Well, teespring.com/stores/poppyshowja. So check them out. Trust me, they're hot over there. You understand? So we got requests from like a lot of people wanting to know how we met. Story time thing, you know what I mean? So we've never actually done a story time.
Yeah, it's the very first story time.
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of people wanted to know how we met. We did a Q&A once and we touched on it briefly.
Yeah.
But we never really go in depth. So since we're getting these kind of requests, so why not? You know what I mean? Why not? We're doing doing the production side of things, and that's kind of taking a little longer to produce the videos as quickly. So these kind of fill the gaps, you know what I mean, where we can still interact with our subscribers, or followers, or well-wishers,
or pop stars.
Or pop stars, definitely. So
it's been a minute since we've had a sit-down video.
Yeah, definitely, definitely a minute. So, and we enjoyed sit-down videos too, you know. So without further ado, our first story time, how we met.
So during that time, prior to meeting him, I had just gotten out of a relationship and really wasn't looking for anything. I was like, okay, this is my time to kind of, get back out there and, kind of see what's out there on the market, whatever. And I remember I was on a dating site.
A dating site?
Yeah, it's a dating mingle.
What, the same site?
Yeah, isn't that what they call it?
No, it was no dating site.
What do they call it?
It was a chat room, like people just socialize.
Social media.
She probably had tried date, but it wasn't a dating.
No. I wasn't really looking for dates. So I guess I that wasn't the correct wording. It was a social network site. Just like how you have Facebook now and whatever.
Definitely.
But it was very personal, where you could link up with, fellow Jamaicans, and they used to have like little chat rooms and stuff. And, like I said, I wasn't seeing anyone, so I kind of had time on my hand, and, was just kind of trying to mingle and, just have some fun, really.
Yeah. Well, in that same time frame, so this is prior to us actually getting even to know each other, you know what I mean? We never know, say, Poppy out there or Toya out there. So pretty much what it was like, I was working, I was just kind of work, go home kind of person. I was dabbling in a little music production at the time, me and my cousin. So that's all pretty much I did, was just work, music, home. I was seeing somebody, it wasn't serious, but you don't know, I was seeing someone at the time, and there was a big age difference. I was older. I was like 7 years older, I think it was. It was always concerning to me, because if you know me, I always try to keep the mindset on a level playing field. I know them say women tend to be a little more mature than men, but in terms of mindset, I like to have both parties going through the same phase, of life at the same time. You understand what I say? And that was my personal opinion. That's how I felt. So the person was like about 7 years younger than me, and we're on and off in terms of how the relationship was, and there were some family influence on her side as well. You know what I mean? There was a lot of interference from our family and stuff. So as I said, it was pretty much work, home, music, and I was also, just I used to go on the website as well to just go chat, just social happening, seeing what's going on from a Jamaica's perspective, and just mingle.
Yeah, so to piggyback off that, so what was the reason why I went to Jamaica? Whatever the reason was, must have been a funeral because I always go to Jamaica for funerals. So it must have been some funeral of the sort. And I had just came back from Jamaica, so like about 2 days, right? And I was online that evening and chatting and whatever. And I guess you had a profile picture or whatever. And, I was scrolling through and I saw his picture. I was like, oh, this guy looks handsome. So, so I was like, let me send him a quick chat or whatever. Cause it wasn't it was a normal thing to do. So, I clicked on his chat and I said, hey, where you been hiding? Stop it. Because you know what? He tells a story differently. When he tells a story of that, he makes it seem as if I came on to him. And that was not the case. And I want to clear that up today.
Okay, can I tell my point now?
No. So I simply said to him, where have you been hiding? And guys, the reason why I said that was because I had just came from Jamaica. And then he was telling me that he works at the airport. I'm like, what? Where you been hiding? Because I was just there, and it was the same airport and I didn't see you. So I was like, where were you hiding? Can't tell him nothing.
She look me. Anybody know say she came
and
on?
Anybody who knows me knows that me no look man.
She never look a man before.
No, I never have, never will.
Okay, guys, if you know, you know. So we're in this chat room for how long? You know what I mean? Where have you been hiding? That clearly means
there was a reason why I said that, guys.
That was our pickup line. You understand what I'm saying, guys? That was our pickup line. But anyways,
pickup line.
I say, yo, where have I been hiding? I'm like, what is she up to? So I just respond to the message. I mean, like, what you talking about? Where have you been hiding and stuff? So she was like, she was just in Jamaica, and da 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 da. She went back home and one thing led to another. We really didn't exchange phone numbers, nothing like that. It was, as I said, we kept on talking in the chat room, in personal or DMing each other, rather than in the open forum of the chat and stuff. And then I think we exchanged, at the time it was MSN Messenger, so we were talking to MSN Messenger. And it just grew from there. It was just friendly, nothing personal.
We just talk, check up on each other and stuff.
As I said, I was seeing someone, and she wasn't pretty much looking for anybody, but she wanted to know where people was hiding. So go figure. Definitely. But so all right, so we kept on talking. It was cool, we're friends, and just chatting back and forth. She was in the States, I was in Jamaica. Obviously, that long distance thing really, weren't something that we both wanted to try. We weren't looking into get into anything like that. So I kept working. The thing about it, I worked for the airlines at the time, right? I worked for an airline at the airport at the time. And it must have been like a couple of months, like a lot of months after they wanted to train me for another position. And I had to go train in Dallas, right? Dallas, Texas. That's where the airline's headquarters was. I'm like, isn't that where that girl said she's from, So I just sent her a message and I was like, hey, I'm coming to Dallas. Is that where you're from and you're living? And she was like, oh yeah, cool. So
I asked him where exactly and he said XYZ and I was like, oh, that's like 20 minutes from me.
Definitely.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
God.
Our skin catch a fire.
No, skin never catch a fire. But I started to look into it as, wow, like what are the coincidences? Like I just met this guy and all of a sudden he's been sent here for training. I'm like, yo, this has to be. And you know what, guys, I was really praying for, there was a certain kind of man I was praying for. And by us talking and everything, I really started vibing with him because I'm like, yo, like a lot of the things that I was looking for, I found it in him, you know? So I kept the conversations going on a daily, and we connected um, on a different level. Like spiritually, we connected, and I was wanting for that. I was begging God, like, the next man that you send in my life, he has to be really spiritually grounded, you know?
Definitely.
And so I remember we used to exchange like Bible verses, and we'll talk about the Bible. And boy, I tell you, that really did it for me.
Yeah. And as I said before, the relationship I was in, it wasn't on the same level
Did I ask you if you were seeing someone? I don't remember. I don't remember if I asked you or not.
Yeah, I think she didn't care about that.
I
No, for real, but that was
initially I didn't.
No,
but I think you told me after.
Yeah, because as I said, that's very important for me in terms of the phases of each other's life. Obviously, I don't want to come out of a state where, I've done with the partying, I've done with the streets, I've done with this, but ask someone to leave that lifestyle if they have to go through that phase of their life. You know what I mean? So it was very important for me to find someone who was on the same wavelength, and obviously spirituality was very big for me. You know what I mean? Someone who is into God. So yeah, man, once I found out that I was coming to Dallas for training, I'm like, oh yeah, cool. So I let her know, as I say, her skin catch a fire. She couldn't wait. So
I was excited. I ain't lying. I was excited to meet you in person because we had really started to bond and everything. So
definitely. And guys, so when I came to Texas, so the first night that I came to Texas, she came and visit me at I think it was the hotel I was staying at, and she took me to Wendy's. It was a Wendy's.
Jesus, you have to talk about that.
What's up, guys?
But I almost left you that night. The first night I met him, guys, I almost left him, like for real. Almost ended it there.
So we sit down at the Wendy's now, wait for order, right? So like I say, we're there talking, and the conversation was very good and everything. So like, I never realized, the time gone and nobody now asked us for, what we want to order.
The conversation was so good while we were in the drive-thru that I didn't even realize that we've been there for a couple of minutes and no one was answering the drive-thru.
Just to find out that Wendy's not even open now, we're sitting in a Wendy's line. How long I wait for somebody to take the order, you know what I mean? So
guys, when we found out, I felt so embarrassed. Like, can you imagine the first time you were meeting someone and it was kind of late? So, we figured, we'll just go to a drive-thru.
Definitely.
And the first time you're meeting someone, and I mean, that was just total embarrassment for me.
It was crazy. But yeah, it was fun. So went to the drive-thru. Nobody knocked at the order. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So we left there. We went somewhere else and we got some food. And that night we went back to her house, right? And trust me, never go back to the hotel since. I went to training every day and everything, and my friends were like, I think it was 3 of us that went for the training, and my co-worker was like, yo, what happened, so every morning I was in class for training, but every evening I didn't take the hotel shuttle to go back,
go
home. So
I went and got my man, honey.
yeah, so that was that, and so once it was time for me to come back to Jamaica now, it was like, I don't know, maybe like about 2 weeks training or a week training, something like that, either a week or 2 weeks training. And I came back. So as I said, because I work for the airlines, I could come back and forth. And she did the same thing, we were just going back and forth. And it got stronger and stronger, guys. As I said, we stayed in the faith, we
Another thing too, so it was his spirituality. Yeah, that connected us. And then secondly, his mother and his sister. So I remember one day, I think it was on Skype at the time, and he called me, and I don't know, there was an instant connection with her. And it was both ways too, because she was feeling me too. And it's like that first conversation her and I had, I mean, man, it just grew stronger and stronger. May her soul rest in peace, mommy. I love you. But the love that she showed me, the support, I mean, it was just amazing.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, guys. So it got stronger and stronger, with the whole family situation. Everybody loved her, and we ended up getting married in a year.
Yeah, within a year.
Yeah.
And the planning, well, let's back up before the
But
wedding.
oh,
Before the wedding, remember we were traveling back and forth. So now we were so tightly knitted that we didn't want to be apart from each other. So what we did was he would trade days with his co-workers, and then he'll come see me for like a week or so, and then I try to fix my schedule to where I can fly back with him. So, girl, your girl was traveling, girl. Ooh, baby, I was traveling. I've never traveled that much in my life. First class, you name it. I was there. So thank you, honey. But even though it was long distance, it worked for us because we saw each other every month.
Yeah, every month.
So at least 2 weeks out of the month, we're spending it together.
Yeah. So just a point on that. A lot of people would say to us, "Oh, we really make it work." Listen, I'm not gonna tell anybody no secret towards nothing. It takes a lot of work, and the fact that I worked for the airlines really helped at that point because I can't imagine not seeing somebody who you get married to or your partner for 2 years. You haven't seen them. That can really strain a relationship. So there's no secret to none of this stuff. It takes a lot of work, and you have to find things that makes it work for you guys. In our case, as I said, because we were so strongly trusting God's process for our life, we felt it was, it was just destiny that, everything was like so in place for us to really work. So, working for the airlines at the time, and it was not easy, guys, because I tell you, there were times where we got bumped off flights, right?
Yeah.
I would have, sometimes it wasn't practical for us to come for like the full week because, peak seasons and things like that. And I would have taken like the week off, but I got bumped off flights and I have to sleep at the airport. Sometimes
I had to sleep at the airport.
Book hotels sometimes. Sometimes I spend the night in Miami, then I fly to Houston, then from Houston, listen, it's all over the place, all over the place. So yeah, man, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. You have to have things in place, and this is for those who are in long distance relationships. You have to have things in place that takes you from strength to strength, because just the love that you have for each other, it really can wear thin. You know what I mean? So
we talking about the plane crash.
We thank God every day for that. Yeah. So we were actually married 2 years before we actually got to live together. One of the reasons for that was I was in a stable job. She was in a stable job. I didn't want to come to the States and know that I would not have probably gotten, the kind of position I wanted work-wise. And as I said, I was involved in a little music production. And I was, hoping that that would have manifested as well. So I wasn't really rushing to leave anything anytime soon. So we were actually married for about 2 years, in that process of flying all the time and, seeing each other all the time, until we really decided that, it's time to really put this chapter of our life to bed and move on to the next chapter of our lives. So, an interesting story that really manifested while we were going, where we were
still going back and forth.
Yeah, back and forth. But we were married. I think we were married a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, that's why I was supposed to come see me one night. Like, she was coming for like a week or so, and she was in Miami getting ready to board the late flight to Kingston, right? So I was watching the flight, in terms of the information for the flight, hoping that she got on board. As I said, we travel standby because of, employees, stuff like that. And she was like, I think they're closing the door. I'm like, no, they can't close the door. I see 2 seats left on the flight, and she was like, no, they're closing the door.
I was so angry.
Yeah, so I called one of my friends who was working at the time. I wasn't working, I was at home. And I called one of my friends and I'm like, hey, what's going on? I see 2 seats on the flight. Latoya is coming and they're closing the door. He was like, yeah, they had to close it because of weight issues. There was a weight and balance issue. They had too much luggage on the flight, so they had to take off some suitcase and they had to take off some just close the door with 2 seats left. I'm like, oh man. So we were so disappointed, right? So disappointed. So that's how I had gone to get a hotel room to spend the night, and I just, packed up my stuff and went to take a shower. So it must have been like about an hour after now, right? So the flight from Miami to Kingston was like about an hour or 15 minutes or something like that. So I got a call like about I got a call after, way after when the flight was supposed to touch down in Kingston, and the person said, "Hey, what's going on with your airlines?" I'm like, "What do you mean, what's going on with airlines?" She's like, "That plane crashed in Kingston like
The same flight I was supposed to be on that night.
2 minutes ago." I'm like, "What?" So when I called back to the airport, no one was answering. I'm like, "Oh yeah, something is going on," because I called the operations line, which like it's mandatory that it gets picked up. I'm like, "What?" So yeah, we were getting phone calls now from the airport personnel because we're employees, see if we could come out and assist with the rescue mission and things like that and whatever. And it was pouring rain in Jamaica that night, and it was one of the reasons that caused the crash. The airline overshot the runway, it came down too far on the runway, overshot the runway, couldn't slow down by the time it was supposed to turn, slow. It was just crazy, and it just overshot the runway and broke in three pieces on the Palisades strip out there. So it was crazy, but we continue to trust God's plans for our lives because it just goes to show that God sees way more than we actually see.
And so as badly as I wanted to be in Jamaica that night, God was, my angels was there.
God was in charge.
Me.
Yeah, was in charge.
Because who knows? If I had been on that flight, I could have been traumatized. I could have been seriously hurt.
Definitely.
But we saw it as, God just looking out for me again.
Definitely. So guys, take away from that, you heard how we met and what we've been through. So a good takeaway from that, and a part of the story time that we want to put out there is that, the disappointment in your life sometimes is God's appointment for your life. Because we've got to remember that the plan is not ours. We don't set the plan, right? We like to have our own plan, but sometimes the plan is bigger than we want for ourselves. So sometimes we have to just let go, let God, and understand that it's gonna work out in His time, and it's gonna be right for you. You know what I mean? Straight. So that's our story time, guys. How we met. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope we inspired some people. With a long distance relationship or you're living together, it can work if you trust God's plans for your life. You have anything else you want to tell them?
It's 13 years. Don't give up, guys. It's not easy, but honestly, I think it's worth it. It will be worth it in the end.
Definitely. You have to fight. You have to fight, and you're gonna
when
be.
When you put in the work, trust me, you want to do everything you need to do to make sure that it continues to work.
Yeah, definitely. Put God first, man. Put God first, and it will manifest. So we know it's a holiday seasons, right? And we know that the virus still out there going with a lot of things. So you just gotta be safe, right? Be safe, guys. You have to still try to enjoy it as best as you can because this lockdown thing and this in-house thing, it really depresses, and it's just causing a lot of headache and pain and a lot of different things are going out there right now. So try to enjoy it as best as possible, but be safe.
And we hope you enjoyed this video because I know a lot of people were very curious.
So please like the video. Leave a comment for us, and if you're new to Poppy Show, please subscribe to the channel, guys. Please subscribe.
And put that notification bell on.
Yes, turn it to all. And go over teespring.com/stores/poppyshowja. All the best for 2021. We love you guys, and we're out.
Peace.